Good evening aspirants, welcome to daily newspaper analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 6th January 2025. These are the important newspaper articles we are going to discuss in this video. We are going to discuss 4 important articles. The first article is about giving $1 million to decode the Indus Valley script. So the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has announced that whoever going to decode the Indus Valley civilization script will get $1 million as a reward. So this article is taken from Hindu newspaper. The next article is about the avian flu, also called as avian influenza. There is an avian influenza outbreak, and in this article discussion we are going to discuss the basics of the avian flu. So this article is taken from Indian Express newspaper. Now look at the third article. It is about the defense deals and the Paris visit by Prime Minister of India. So in this article we are going to discuss the recent defense deals with France and about the Rafale jet. This article is taken from Hindu newspaper. The fourth article is about the central loan for states. The government is going to increase the capital expenditure, and in this article discussion we are going to discuss what is capital expenditure and what are the impacts of capital expenditure on the economy. So this article is taken from Live Mint. So these are the 4 important newspaper articles we are going to discuss in this video. Now let us get into the discussion. Now look at this article. India and France are going to sign defense deal worth $10 billion. This defense deal will include Rafale M jets and 3 Scorpene submarines. These deals will likely be approved before PM Modi's Paris visit in February, and he is going for the AI summit in Paris. So this defense deal will boost India's naval strength. So this is what said in this article. In this context, let us discuss about the Rafale M jet and the Scorpene submarines and what are the committees involved in this defense deal. Firstly, about the Rafale M jet. It is a versatile carrier-based aircraft built by Dassault Aviation. This is a fighter aircraft. It measures 15.25 meters in length and has a wingspan of 10.08 meters and its height is 5.34 meters. This is a high performance jet and it can reach the speed of up to Mach 1.8. It can operate at altitudes up to 50,000 feet. So it is capable of short takeoffs and arrested landings. So this is best suitable for carrier operation. It also has advanced avionics and radar system which makes it multi-role aircraft. Next, about the Scorpene-Class Submarine. It is a diesel electric attack submarine which is originally designed by France Naval Group. It is 63.5 meters long and can travel submerged at a speed of over 20 knots. It can reach the depth up to 350 meters. It has an endurance of over 60 days and it is equipped with 6 torpedo tubes. These submarines can include a crew of over 31 members including 6 officers. So this is about the Scorpene-Class submarines which we are going to buy from France. Now talking about the India's defense procurement process, it is guided by Defense Acquisition Procedure, that is DAP. This is replaced by Defense Procurement Procedure DPP in 2020. Initially it is introduced in 2002, which was revised to simplify the acquisition process and also to prioritize the indigenously designed and manufactured systems. So this Defense Acquisition Procedure was changed into Defense Procurement Procedure, and this DPP will boost the self-reliance in defense manufacturing. Now let us talk about some of the key committees which are involved in the defense procurement. First is Defense Acquisition Council. It is chaired by Defense Minister and it is responsible for approving capital acquisition proposal. Its objective is to enhance the transparency, efficiency and self-reliance in India's procurement process regarding the defense deals. So this aligns with Make in India initiative. The next one is Services Capital Acquisition Plan Categorization Higher Committee. This committee evaluates and categorizes procurement proposals which are based on necessity and priority. The next one is Contract Negotiation Committee. It conducts negotiations with vendors regarding the terms and conditions of defense deals. Next is Technical Oversight Committee. This committee ensures compliance with technical requirements and also the standards during the procurement process. So these are the 4 important committees which are involved in India's defense deals. Now let us discuss an MCQ related to this topic. Consider the following statements about Rafale fighter jet. Rafale is a multi-role fighter jet manufactured by Dassault Aviation. This statement is correct. Now look at the second statement. It has the capability to operate from both land-based airfield and aircraft carriers. This statement is also correct. Now look at the third statement. India signed a deal for procurement of Rafale jets under strategic partnership model. This statement is incorrect. This is because the defense deal for Rafale jets was signed as a part of intergovernmental agreement between India and France and not under the strategic partnership model. So here the correct answer is option 1 and 2 only, because option 3 is incorrect. So with this, let us conclude this article discussion and move on to the next one. Now look at this article. It highlights the death of tigers and one leopard due to H5N1 avian influenza at Goriwada Rescue Center in Nagpur. So this is a rare case of zoonotic transmission which has urged the Union government to issue an alert regarding this avian influenza. So the Union government has advised the zoos nationwide to monitor and prevent this avian influenza before it becomes a breakout. So let us discuss about the H5N1 avian influenza and what are the basics about it. The avian influenza, which is commonly known as the bird flu, is caused by H5N1 virus. So this is a highly contagious strain of influenza virus, and this primarily affects birds but can also affect other animals and humans. As we have seen in the news article, this avian influenza have affected 3 tigers and 1 leopard. So it can also affect other animals and humans beyond birds. Now looking at the origin of avian influenza, this avian flu, which is also known as the bird flu, was first found in China in 1996. This H5N1 strain became a major concern in 1997 after an outbreak in Hong Kong. So the virus spread from chickens to humans and it caused serious illness to humans. Wild water birds like ducks are the natural carriers of this virus. These wild water birds do not often get sick, like they pass the virus from the farm to chickens and other animals or humans. So the origin of the virus is from the ducks and other wild water birds, but they can pass the virus to chickens and other humans. So this is how this virus spreads to humans. The spread of bird flu worldwide is linked to movement of migratory birds, also due to poultry trade and poor safety practices in farms. So this is the reason for the spread of avian influenza. Next, regarding the mode of transmission. It is transmitted through direct contact, contaminated surfaces and also due to air. Transmission occurs through the contact with infected birds or their secretions. It can also get transmitted through indirect transmission from contaminated feed or water or equipments. Sometimes it is also spread through droplets in air in close environments. So it is also an airborne transmission. The next important type of transmission is zoonotic transmission. It is very rare, but it is also possible in this case. So zoonotic transmission simply means the transmission of a virus or a disease from animals to humans. Now let us see what are the impacts on wildlife due to this avian influenza. This avian influenza will lead to high fatality rates in the affected species. So there is a high mortality in the affected regions. For example, tigers, leopards and birds have died recently due to avian influenza. Next is ecosystem disruption. The loss of key predators or the prey affects the ecological balance of the environment. So due to the recent death of tigers and leopards, which are key predators in those areas, there will be a lack of balance in the ecosystem and this leads to disruption of ecological balance. Next is cross-species infection. The infection in wildlife indicate potential threat to other species and humans. So there will be cross-species infection, which means this infection can spread from one species of animal to other species. So this avian influenza might threaten the endangered species in captivity and also in the wild. So these are the impacts of avian influenza. Now let us see what are the measures to prevent and contain this avian influenza. The regular health checkup and monitoring and surveillance in zoos and rescue centers and poultry farms is very essential to contain this avian influenza. The next one is biosecurity. Restricting the movement of people, animal and equipments in the affected areas will reduce the transmission of this avian influenza. Next is isolation. Isolation of infected animals in order to prevent the spread of virus is very crucial to prevent this transmission. Next is vaccination. There should be a proper vaccination of domestic poultry wherever feasible and even in the affected areas. The next is disinfection. Clean and disinfect closures, feeding areas and water resources is very essential to prevent this avian influenza. And awareness campaigns and reporting and testing are also important for preventing this avian influenza. So these are the measures that has to be taken to prevent the transmission of avian flu. Now let us discuss an MCQ related to this topic. Consider the following statements regarding the avian influenza or bird flu. Avian influenza is caused by H5N1 virus, which primarily affects aquatic animals. Now look at the second statement. The virus can transmit to mammals including tigers through direct consumption of infected animals. Yes, this statement is correct. Now look at the third statement. Wild migratory birds are natural reservoirs of this virus. Yes, this statement is also correct. Now look at the first statement. The avian influenza is caused by H5N1 virus, this part of the statement is correct, but it primarily affects the aquatic wild birds and not generally the aquatic animals. So this statement is incorrect. So the correct answer for this question is option B, 2 and 3 only. So with this, let us conclude the discussion and move to the next news article. Now look at this news article. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin offers 1 million prize for whoever decoding the Indus Valley script. The Indus Valley script is yet to be deciphered, and Tamil Nadu government has offered 1 million prize for decoding this script. In his speech, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has stressed that there is a Dravidian connection between Indus Valley civilization and Tamil Nadu. He also cited the examples of graffiti marks and said that there is a Dravidian connection between Indus Valley civilization and Tamil Nadu. Chief Minister Stalin has also granted 2 crores for creating a chair for late archaeologist Airavadam Mahadevan. So this is what discussed here. In this context, let us discuss about the basics of Indus Valley civilization. Now looking at the timeline of Indus Valley civilization, we can divide the Indus Valley civilization as early urban civilization, mature Harappan civilization and late Harappan civilization. So this Indus Valley civilization has spanned between 3300 BCE to 1300 BCE. So if we can divide this into early, mature and late Harappan, the early Harappan is from 3300 to 2600. The mature Harappan is from 2600 to 1900 and the late Harappan is from 1900 to 1300. So overall, the Harappan period exists from 3300 BCE to 1300 BCE. So this is the earliest urban civilization in Indian subcontinent, and it is one of the earliest civilization in the world. Now looking at the geographical extent, how far it has extended in India. In the northernmost region, Manda, which is in Jammu and Kashmir, and in the easternmost city is Alamgirpur in UP, and the westernmost region is Sukhdendor, which is in Balochistan in Pakistan, and in southernmost it comes to Dayamabad in Maharashtra. So this is the north, south, east, west extension of Indus Valley civilization. There is a city called Shortgai in Afghanistan, which is the most isolated site of Indus Valley civilization. So this is about the geographical extent. Now let us see the salient features of Indus Valley civilization. The most important feature of Indus Valley civilization is urban planning. The cities were built in grid pattern and the streets intersect at right angles. So this is much like a modern urban planning. The city is divided into 2 parts. One is Citadel and another one is Lower Town. The Citadel has public buildings. So it is a raised platform, and around this raised platform is a Lower Town. So which is a low-lying area, and this Lower Town has residential and commercial areas. So the public buildings and administrative buildings are located in the raised part of the city, which is Citadel, and in the lower part of the city, that is low-lying areas, the residential and commercial buildings are located. So this is how the Indus Valley cities are divided. They also have advanced drainage system. So this is about the urban planning. Now looking at the architecture, there are great structures like Great Bath, granaries. Great Bath is located in Mohenjo-daro. The residential buildings also had courtyards, wells and bathrooms. These bathrooms of residential buildings are connected to the drainage system, and this drainage system is well maintained in Indus Valley civilization. So this is about the urban planning and architecture. Next, about agriculture. The Indus Valley civilization people has an agrarian society. They cultivated crops like wheat, barley, peas, mustard, cotton, and they used irrigation and also plough based farming. They domesticated animals like cattle, sheep, goats, buffalo, etc. So this is about the agriculture and domestication of animals. Now looking at the trade and economy. They carried on internal trade and also the external trade with the civilizations of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Central Asia, Persian Gulf, etc. So there is a trade between various civilizations and also within the Indus Valley civilization. They used standardized weights and measures. The commonly traded articles are beads, ornaments, seals, copper and bronze. So this is about the agriculture and the trade. Now looking at the art and craft, they are skilled in pottery making, bead making and metallurgy. The materials like terracotta, bronze and stone materials are used to create beautiful potteries and sculptures. The best example is Dancing Girl, which is a bronze sculpture, and Priest King, which is from steatite stone. So this is an example of their art and craft. Now looking at the religion and beliefs. They worshipped Mother Goddess as a symbol of fertility, and they also worshipped Proto-Shiva, which is the previous form of Shiva which we are worshipping today, and he is called as Pashupati. The natural elements like trees, which is especially the people tree and animals are also worshipped. But there is no larger temple or religious structures in Indus Valley cities. So there is a form of worship, but there is no construction of temples. So this is a unique feature of Indus Valley civilization. They have no structures of temples and they also had no standing armies or weapons. Now looking at the important sites of Indus Valley civilization, the most important ones are Lothal, Kalibangan, Rakhigarhi, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dholavira. Some special features of each cities are mentioned here. The Lothal, which is known for its dockyard because it is in the coastline of Gujarat. So Lothal is a port of Indus Valley civilization. So in this port, they carried the external trade with Mesopotamia, Egypt, Persia, etc. Kalibangan is known for fire altars and it has ploughed fields, which means there is a extensive agriculture and farming happened in Kalibangan. So it is in Rajasthan. Next is Rakhigarhi. Rakhigarhi is in Haryana and it is the largest Harappan site. Next is Harappa. Harappa is the first excavated site of the Indus Valley civilization and that is why it is also called Harappan civilization. Harappa has granaries and seals which are excavated here. It is in present day Pakistan. Next is Mohenjo-daro, which is also in the Sindh region of present day Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro is known for the Great Bath and it also had advanced urban design. Next is Dholavira. It is also in Gujarat. Dholavira is known for water reservoirs and stone architecture. So they had small dams and water drainage system for storing the water. And this was previously asked in recent prelims question. So Dholavira is known for water reservoir and water efficient management. So these cities are some of the important sites of Indus Valley civilization. Now looking at the Harappan Script, which was discussed in the news article. Recently, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has announced $1 million prize for whoever decoding this Harappan script because the script was yet to be deciphered. The writing system of IVC is a Harappan script. It is yet to be deciphered. It is written in the pictographic form or logographic form. It has pictures, small pictures, which is written as a script. That is why it is called pictographic script. The style of the script was called as Boustrophédon style, which means it is written in alternating direction, not from right to left or left to right, but in alternating direction. So this script is also called Boustrophédon script. Now let us discuss an MCQ related to this article. Consider the following: Lothal, dockyard; Mohenjo-daro, Great Bath; Shortgai, canal system. So all the three pairs are correctly matched because Lothal is famous for dockyard, Mohenjo-daro is famous for the Great Bath structure, Shortgai has canal systems. So the correct answer is option C. All the three are correct. With this, let us conclude the discussion and move to the next news article. Now look at this article. The central government is going to increase the capital expenditure in this January to March, that is the first quarter of 2025. So why the government is going to increase the capital expenditure? What is the capital expenditure? The government has also said that there is a decrease in economic growth in the first 2 quarters of 2024. So why is there decline in economic growth? So these are the things we are going to discuss in this news article discussion. Now let us get into the article. Firstly, we have to understand what is capital expenditure. So capital expenditure, the government of India has two kinds of expenditure. One is capital expenditure and another one is revenue expenditure. So when the government is spending, it is either revenue expenditure or capital expenditure. So if we take the revenue expenditure, it is a day-to-day spending of the government. It does not create any long-term assets. So revenue expenditure is just giving salaries, pensions, subsidies, etc. So it is a temporary expenditure of the government, temporary spending of the government. On the other hand, the capital expenditure means creating long-term asset or infrastructure facilities. Like if the government is spending on building the railways, roads, buildings, buying machineries. So these things are going to stay for longer time. So these are long-term assets or investments. So this is the capital expenditure. So this is the difference between the capital expenditure and the revenue expenditure. Once again, I am telling you, the revenue expenditure is just the day-to-day spending or temporary spending of the government. The capital expenditure is creating investment or long-term assets of the government. So now the government of India has decided to increase the capital expenditure. So that means the government is going to spend more on infrastructure investment. So why the government is going to focus spending more on the capital expenditure? The reason for this is the economy of India has seen a decrease in economic growth. So the momentum of economic growth has decreased in past year, especially during the first 2 quarters of 2024. So why is there a decrease in economic growth? This is because of two factors. One is there is a decline in urban household spending. So the people are spending very less. Their disposable income has become very less. So one thing. Another thing is the spending of the government has also reduced in the past year. So these two things, that is the reduced spending of the government and also the reduced spending of the households, has decreased the economic growth. So when the government and the households spend more, then only the economic activity will expand and there will be more economic growth. Now let us see how the capital expenditure of the government will increase economic growth. So in order to increase economic growth, the government is going to spend more capital expenditure, right? So how the capital expenditure will increase the economic growth? When the government is spending more on infrastructure assets like building the roads, it means the government has to buy the cement, the steel from the steel industries and cement industries. So the government is going to build infrastructure means it has to buy these products from other industries. So when government is buying these products, those industries will develop, those industries activities will expand, and the industries which are dependent on those industries will also expand. So thereby there will be more employment opportunities, there will be more production of economic goods, and the economy will bloom. So this is how the spending of government in capital expenditure will increase the economic growth of the country. So this is why the government is going to plan to increase the capital expenditure. So this is what discussed in this news article. Two things we have to note here. One is what is capital expenditure and how it is different from revenue expenditure, and why is government increasing the capital expenditure and what its impact on the economy. So the capital expenditure have an most important impact. It is called multiplier effect. This multiplier effect means there is, as I said earlier, when the government is investing in capital expenditure, it will lead to impact on other industries, and those industries will impact on other industries. So thereby there will be a bloom of economic activities in various sectors of the country. So it will lead to more production of more goods, and in turn it will lead to more employment opportunities, and this in turn will lead to more consumption of the households, and they will spend more of their income. So thereby it will have multiplier effect on the economy. So this is why spending on capital expenditure is very important. So this is what discussed in this news article. Let us discuss an MCQ related to this article. How does capital expenditure contribute to economic growth? So here the four options are given. Look at the first statement, by reducing the fiscal deficit. So the question has asked, how will capital expenditure contribute to economic growth? So reducing the fiscal deficit is not at all related to capital expenditure, because when capital expenditure means the government is spending on infrastructure. So when government is spending on infrastructure, it will not reduce the fiscal deficit. It will increase the fiscal deficit. Now look at the second option, by creating future assets and employment opportunity. Yes, this statement is correct, because the capital expenditure will create future assets and employment opportunities. So this is a long-term investment for the government. So this statement is correct. Now let us see the third statement, by increasing subsidies for rural areas. So giving subsidies, salaries and pensions is the role of the revenue expenditure, because it is not going to create any infrastructure or investment. So this is a revenue expenditure of the government, and the option C is eliminated. Now look at the fourth option, by controlling the inflation directly. So controlling inflation is not a part of capital expenditure, so it can be eliminated easily. So the correct answer for this question is option B. Capital expenditure is about creating future assets and employment opportunities. So this is all about the discussion. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.